So over at CNN Business, mortgage rates fall to lowest level since February of 2023. Now, that is not a lie. That's not a lie. We're going to look at this a little bit, and then I'm going to show you where there's the slight left out of context kind of stuff there that just whatever, the disinformation, misinformation, disorientation that they do in these headlines, because most people just read the headlines, or they get the headlines, they read a little bit and they move on. We're going to look at it and it sounds great, which it is. Anytime the rates are coming down is good. But what does that really mean? How does it really compare to the mortgage rates in context of what they've been beyond February of 2023, right? So we're going to look at this a little bit. This is, again, CNN Business. Won't read the whole thing, but it says mortgage rates fell this week to the lowest point since February 2023, which wasn't that long ago, to be fair, and a welcome sign for Americans grappling with a tough housing market. The standard 30-year fixed mortgage averaged 6.2% in the week ending September 12th. Mortgage financing giant Freddie Mac said Thursday. That's down from last week's 6.35% and well below the two-decade high of 7.79% in October of 2023. Who was president in October 2023? Anyways, better question, who was vice president in October 23? You feel me? All right. Mortgage rates started to drop early last month on news affirming lower interest rates in the future, specifically after a weaker than expected job reports for July. Oh, a weaker than expected job reports. How many times have we done that? Anyways, and have gradually edged lower since. Mortgage rates have fallen more than 0.5% over the last 6 weeks and are at their lowest level since February 2023, Sam Cater, Freddie Mac's chief economist, said in a release. Rates continue to soften due to incoming economic data that is more sedate. But despite the improving mortgage rate environment, prospective buyers remain on the sidelines as they negotiate a combination of high house prices and persistent supply shortages. Economic data pointing to slower inflation and a weakening job market have paved the way for the Federal Reserve to roll out the first interest rate cut since 2020, slated for the central bank's upcoming policy meeting next week. So, again, nothing inherently wrong necessarily, right? Interest rate, mortgage rates are dropping. Cool. It is factual. I am going to prove what they say is factual. But I'm also going to give you a little bit more context that I think is more important, okay? Because as we see here, CNN, a known left-leaning, liberal, biased, mainstream news media source, right? Whatever labels you want to slap on there, those are a few. The headline is the rates are coming down as we get closer and closer to election day. Do you not think that they are serving a certain political party, a certain agenda, trying to make somebody else look good? Or are they just presenting the facts? My take on it is they're not dropping enough to write a freaking story about it. Now, is it great to know they're coming down? Sure. But this article didn't need to be written. There's a lot more articles that should have been written about things going on today. But it was written, I think, to give somebody a positive spin. Let's look at some context, if I may point out something here, folks. So here's a graph of the 30-year mortgage rates from 2022 to 2024. This was about the best one I could find, so forgive me. I'm not going all the way back to 2020, 2019, and beyond, which is what I really wanted. But this one basically tells the whole story, right? So we're looking from November 1st of 2022. You're sitting down here in this wonderful sweet spot. I don't even know what the percentage that is. And then here we are. That would be November of 2023, where it hit that 7 point whatever it was percent, that 2-decade high rate, right? So remember, from here to, I think now we're about 6.2 is what it said, 6.2, 6.4, somewhere in this ballpark. So we went from here to here. It's a drop. I'll celebrate any drop. But just keep in mind, a year before, or earlier in the year of 2023, it was lower than where we are now. Had a little bump right there, but prior to that in 2022, it was lower. 21, it was lower. 20, it was lower. Again, I know they're not on the graphs here, but yeah, it's just like the crime rates, the immigration, inflation. They will write these articles and say it's coming down. Crime rates are lower. Inflation is lower. Immigration is lower. They're looking at like a small snippet of time, a month, 3 months, 6 months, 2 years. They won't look at the bigger picture, especially comparing this administration to the last administration. And that was the point of this. Not so much about the mortgage rates coming down, which, hey, cool, way to go. If you're, buying a house, maybe it's the time to buy, maybe it's not. I don't know. I know I didn't get a great rate when I bought my house way back in the day. Well, maybe not way back in the day. I'm not that freaking old. But anyways, the point to it was not the mortgage rates dropping. The point of the story was to show you how deliberately and they try to be discreet about it, right? They wrap it up in a positive story. How these news media outlets are basically putting propaganda out there by twisted truths. Is that something we can use? I don't want to say misinformation because they're not wrong, but they are taking the truth and twisting it and conforming it into something that looks better than it actually is, so that you will think things are improving as we get, 60 days out, 50 days out, 40 days out of the election, because they are in favor of you reelecting whoever is currently in office. If I'm not mistaken, I thought the price of the pumps were a little lower a couple of days ago when I filled up. I'm sure it has nothing to do with getting closer and closer to election day. Not at all. Guys, have you seen stuff like this popping up? Have you seen, I'm going to call it again, I'm going to call it mainstream media propaganda. Political propaganda. I wouldn't go as far as election interference or go, super crazy. But again, it's almost like an advertisement or a political ad in a way for the person that's in office, kind of, sort of, right? By twisting reality in the article there. Here's the truth. But it's not the full truth, is it? It's not everything you should probably know. Anyways, what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.